Right. And that's what I tried to tackle in my article is kind of the more cultural, I guess, side of it. And to make this point that uh it's you can't prepackage it. You can't prepackage well, I'm against Democrats here in the United States, so I'm for Republicans. Um because partially because um people often say in this country, oh, America's split 50-50 right down the middle. Well, we've been saying that for about 200 years. And the reason for that is because the two parties move. They move their policies, they move their rhetoric to reflect the people. They're trying to get 50% or more of the people. And so it's the people's decisions at the kitchen table and at the school board or the the local elections or whatever it is or in the home, I mean, that then those parties are trying to take advantage of. So that's why it's almost always split, not always, but it's almost always split 50-50, is because they're chasing the the beliefs of the people about what is good and evil and the morality of the people. So we're sitting at home thinking we have no power, especially in the United States. The other countries, Europe less so, and other countries far less so have agency and power to alter their government. But the government does reflect either what the people have voted for or what the people will allow, the abuses that the people will allow to occur. Um, so in my article, working title, "The Old Made New," I really tried to focus in on that culture and since I manage some of the social media or mainly one of the social media accounts we use, um, then I can sometimes see when I'm checking that account, like what's out there on social media, and the algorithm tailors things to each person, and so my experience, I'm sure, is not the same as everybody. But my experience over the past, let's say, 2 or 3 years, compared to my experience over the past 2 or 3 years before that, has changed, and what it's changed uh, to be is many accounts like the ones you were just talking about. Look at this architrave of this building. Isn't it neat how they did that? It's actually a marvel of engineering because they had to do this, this, and this, and they didn't have hydraulics and they didn't have pneumatics. And wow, isn't that amazing? Yes, it is. Cool. Show me more. And one account I'm thinking of in particular, and I mentioned it in the article, says exactly what you just said. Here are pictures of cool buildings. Here's how they work. These are facts. Um, and then it asks, why don't we have more of these buildings? We have far more tools. We have far more resources. We have far more money. We also have institutions of freedom that allow for more circulation of materials and knowledge for building things. Why are we building ugly buildings? That has to be a choice. And so they'll make that point. And that is almost as self-evident as the beauty of the Colosseum, or as the beauty of the buildings that they are talking about in the first place. And so the trend that I'm seeing is people who are increasingly willing to say the old was good. Bring back the old. Look to the past for the buildings that they built to see how we should build our buildings today. Let's reject the brutalism. Let's reject the Corbusier. Let's reject this worship of the collective and let's get back to the dignified, the beautiful, the ornate, the proportions that exist in nature and those types of things. And there is abundant good to be found in that, in the classical compositions of the past, musical compositions, in the old ways, and in the individuality and independence of raising your own food, let's say, homesteading, we call it in the United States, or or of any number of things. The one example I mentioned is here in the United States, some of the retro cars are coming back, like the new Ford Bronco, the new, whatever, looks a lot like the old one. And there's an appeal to that. And there are people saying, kind of one of the slogans is they took this from us. They'll show a picture of one famous picture is Tulsa, a group of teens in Tulsa in the 50s, and they're wearing the 50s clothes, and they're happy, and the women or the young women are not, are look dignified and feminine, and what we would used to think of as normal, and the men look like young men. And then people will just post a picture like that of 50s Americana or the ornate buildings of Europe or whatever it might be, and they'll just post that underneath. They took this from us. We could have done this, they say, and instead we've had this modernism era, and I'm seeing that more and more, and I hopefully can portray it in text and visually in this issue to just make you aware that it's there, and it is absolutely refreshing in 1,000 different ways.